Hey guys, Albe here. I'm going around with the TUONO today because having multiple bikes, you end up not riding all of them enough. Or at least I don't have the time to ride all of them enough. So today is the TUONO's turn, so that I can get the fluids to go around and stay nice and lubricated. But since I was going for this ride, I decided to take the camera with me, and some of you ask about the progressive international motorcycle show in Long Beach that I've been to a couple of weeks ago. So the international motorcycle show, I went the last day, the Sunday, and the show was pretty busy. I'm not sure about the other days, but that Sunday there were a lot of people going to it. Now, one thing that was super annoying, that eventually I figured out what it was, there was this howling in the background. Let's see if you guys can hear it.
Somebody's drifting.
So I wasn't sure what that was. It was really annoying. It went on the whole time I was there, and it turned out they were actually giving rides on those three-wheelers, the slingshots. They were giving rides on slingshots, and they were drifting them and doing burnouts constantly. One would stop, and the next one would start right up. So the whole time, that was really annoying. But past that, as expected, most of the manufacturers were there. So obviously the big four from Japan: Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamaha. And then you had the Europeans. The only brand that I was looking for that I couldn't find was the KTM. I've seen people with KTM shirts walking around. I've seen a few KTM bikes, but there were not a KTM booth. The bikes I've seen were on the Touratech booth, or some aftermarket companies had a KTM with accessories on it, but that was it. I'm assuming that's because the previous week was the EICMA show in Milan. So I guess KTM just didn't care and decided to screw Long Beach, and the EICMA show in Milan is way bigger, so I guess they focused all their resources over there. At the show there were also a bunch of accessories and gear brands, and they all showed up their new products, and it was nice. So, but let's go in order. Let's start with the big four from Japan. You had Honda, which every single bike was red at the Honda booth. The only one that wasn't really red was the Africa Twin, because it was in the rally color, or whatever they call them. And I have to admit, that bike looks pretty good. And they showcased the Monkey, that new little thing, almost kind of a predecessor of the Gram, I guess. It's one of those small bikes, almost looking like a pit bike. So that was about it. That I could see, there weren't really anything major announced. They had their motorcycle, their off-road bikes, and that was about it. But moving on, we went to the Yamaha. The Yamaha booth had the usual suspects, so R6, R1, and the hyper expensive M1, whatever they call it. And the cool thing is they had a cutout of the bike. So they actually have the bike where half of the bike was cut off and you could actually peek inside, and that was actually pretty cool. Other than that, the usual dirt bikes, street bikes, and obviously most of the companies now make some sort of retro style looking bike. The thing that they neither Honda or Yamaha at their MotoGP bike showing. At least I couldn't find them. The only one I've seen was the Suzuki. Suzuki had Alex Rince's bike showing off, and that was pretty cool. And Kawasaki, which actually had Johnny Ray from Superbike bike showing off. But moving on to the big green, obviously Kawasaki was lots of green going on. All the street bikes were there, all the Ninjas, and the H2 all carbon fiber motorcycle was there. Cool to look at, but I don't know how that would fare on the street with one of those. That's a lot of power. That's undoubtedly a ton of power. But so, even in Kawasaki, nothing that really popped, as far as I could tell. I don't know if they just didn't bring their newest model or their concept because EICMA was so close. But moving on, BMW, I went to the BMW booth, which was gigantic as always. Most of the bikes were there. The 1250, 1260, 1250 GS was there, the big one. Then the 850 and the 750 GS were there. The new bike for the year is the S1000RR with the new look. And I have to admit, I know beauty is subjective, so some people like it, some people don't. But in my opinion, this year bike looks fantastic. It just looks great. Mind you, I really like the previous models as well, but this year bike is like, it's really mean looking, and with the M colors on it, oh, it looks funny. BMW was nice, and then there were Ducati. Now the Ducati booth is so busy every single time that I went there trying to film a few bikes, try to take a look, but there were so many people. It's always difficult to do anything. You can barely take a glimpse of it, and it's somewhat annoying, you know. But even there, they have their 10,000 different scrambler models, and they had the B4, which is a pretty cool looking bike, and that was about it. I'm not sure, I can't remember, but I don't think I've seen any special edition, which usually is the cool stuff about Ducati. You know, there is always some outrageous special edition that is way too expensive for most people to buy. Then I went over to the Piaggio Group. Piaggio Group is Aprilia, obviously, big fan. And then they have the Piaggio scooters and stuff. And nothing. I think the new thing this year for the Aprilia is the RSV4 now has those little winglets on the side that they're carrying over from motorcycle racing. I'm not really sure I care that much for those winglets. But so anyway, that was it. And one thing that popped at the Aprilia booth was the new colors for the TUONO, which I actually like quite a bit. Even the factory version of my bike, the color were a little over the top for me. but these year colors are pretty cool. Even the regular RR, the colors are, I think they're beautiful. I think this time around they really got the right color scheme that is not too eccentric, but at the same time is not plain either. So that was it. There was the Carbon Ores, there were all the other bikes that Aprilia had, and as I said, there wasn't really much popping in any of the booths. One thing is the whole motorcycle show is, I shouldn't say leaders, but there were a bunch of custom bikes from many manufacturers all over the place. Some very cool and probably very functional as well. Some beautiful art pieces, but I'll bet they're a nightmare to ride, and they're very useless. But they look great. So if you have a large amount of disposable income, I guess get one of those, put it in your living room, and enjoy it. Went over to the MV Agusta booth. Oh, the MV Agustas are fantastic. They're bananas. You know, they just have incredible color schemes and tricolore color scheme, the Italian flag all over the place, and then they have the one that looks like an American flag, red, white, and blue, which is fantastic, and all sorts of other bikes. I love the Brutale. The Brutale looks absolutely gorgeous. The attention to detail and the beauty of the bike. And then obviously the F3, the F4, and their Velo something that almost looks like a multistrada, but it's obviously, well, I shouldn't say looks like a multistrada. Let's say it is the same concept of a multistrada, where it looks like an adventure bike, very street oriented, and that's it. So I was pleasantly impressed with the MV Agusta booth. I wish I had a connection to test drive those bikes, which I don't, so sorry guys, I doubt I'll be doing any MV Agusta reviews. Speaking of which, 2019 is coming. I'm gonna get down and work on a bunch of reviews of the 2019 bikes. But moving on, Triumph was there. Really nothing to see over there. They had their, which, because I'm not knowledgeable about those old resto mod looking bikes like the Traxton and so on, I'm not really sure if there was anything new or good looking going on. I mean, they had the Speed Triple and the Street Triple. Big fan of both bikes. Actually, I was looking at the Speed Triple when I bought the Aprilia, and then a couple of electric bike manufacturers showing off. There were Husqvarna with all their new street bikes. I always known of Husqvarna for their dirt bikes, and they're coming in on their street game, and they look okay, somewhat good looking. So that was it. But probably the main reason anybody wants to go to the International Motorcycle Show is if you need accessories, if you need gear, that's probably the best place to go and buy. There are lots of discounts on it. I bought my dirt helmet over there because it was $150 cheaper than anywhere else I could find. So pretty pleased about that. And you see all those little vendors, especially here in the United States, that make earplugs, that make weird things for motorcycle riders that are difficult find unless you walk in front of them. So that was kind of cool. I thought about getting a set of custom molded earplugs. I do wear earplugs when I ride, because I'm getting old, I guess. So I got a chance of looking at all those new brands, new products coming out, and that was kind of cool. They had a stunt riding simulator, I guess, a wheelie simulator. It could have been fun. That's definitely an easy way of learning how to wheelie if that actually applies when you go on the road, but concept is just about the same, finding the balance point. But obviously there was such a giant line that I didn't go on it. As I said, most of the major brands for gears were there, and that was nice. You get a chance of actually taking a look at, if you're looking for a helmet, taking a look at most helmets out there. If you're looking for a jacket, most jackets out there, so you can actually go from one stand to the other and actually try them on and see how they feel, or at the very least take a look side by side of all of them. You know, I think that the organizer of the IMS, they need to move it. It's too close to the EICMA show, and most manufacturers probably rather go to the EICMA show than go to Long Beach. But so, there was a very cool atmosphere, I'll tell you that much, and all in all, it was a pretty fun day, especially if you're into motorcycles. But as always, if you guys like the video, this video is mostly for a very small and intimate bunch of friends that are very faithful and watch most of my videos. Also, this is for the one guy that keeps leaving a thumb down on all my videos. At least I like to think he's one guy that just goes through and leaves a thumb down. It's kind of funny. Most of my videos, I think I have 100 and some out there. They have most of them have a single thumb down. So I like to think it's one guy that just for whatever reason I rubbed wrong and goes on and gives me a thumb down at every single video. But anyway, if you like the video, or leave a thumb down. If you want to see more, subscribe. Other than that, you guys ride on. And I'll see you next time.